For those of you who haven't met yet, let me quickly introduce myself. Hi, my name is Natalie Lembeck. I was born and raised in a suburb of Minneapolis, and in case you're starting to play Jewish geography in your head right now, here are my stats. I went to Herzl Camp, the University of Wisconsin. I was on USY Israel pilgrimage in the summer of 1996, and my family were members of Bethel Synagogue in St. Louis Park. I went to preschool there, and I was bat mitzvahed there, and I got married there, and my family are still members there today. I moved to Los Angeles in 2004, shortly after I started dating my now husband, Sam, who was born and raised here in the Valley. And again, for the Jewish geography, he graduated from Campbell Hall. Yes, he is the grandson of the late actor Harvey Lembeck, and no, he didn't go to your Hebrew school or your synagogue. Unless you know his bar mitzvah tutor from 1994, you probably aren't connected to him Jewishly. In our union, Sam brought the showbiz roots and I brought the Jewish ones. And because I was so certain that we would move back to Minneapolis to start and raise a family, we didn't start thinking about planting our own Jewish roots here until 2012, when we had just moved to Valley Village and were expecting our first child. Adat Ariel was located conveniently nearby and offered a free Mommy and Me class, and the rest is history. Like a lot of you, the ECC was our entry point. When we first joined, under the old dues structure, we paid the super reduced membership rate for families under 30, and though we were here every day for a preschool drop-off, we only actually attended grown-up services, like the one tonight, once a year. And every year during this very high holiday appeal, I would just tune out. I figured that the appeal was intended for people who could afford to give large sums of money, enough to warrant a plaque or a building named after them. I couldn't really compute how the appeal applied to me. All of our funds were already going to preschool tuition, and we really couldn't wrap our heads around giving any more. Some years we gave nothing. Some years we wrote a check for $18, even though it felt impossible that a gift that small could make any tangible impact. But we continued to pay our dues because we figured it was enough, and that's what we thought was required of us as synagogue members. And though we couldn't always make financial gifts, we started volunteering pretty early on. We started as room parents and with leadership roles in the ECC. Then my husband, who you might know as Farmer Sam, volunteered to tend and teach in the ECC garden. Today, we each serve on various committees, and I'm on the synagogue board as well. So over the years, and often without specific intention, we've planted our roots here and helped them grow one Tat Shabbat or Men of Adat meeting or JLC retreat at a time. Investing our time here has been such a gift. Yes, it's a gift we give to this community, but in giving it, we've received so much in return. We've met some of our best friends here. Volunteering has helped us to shape our own family values, and it has taught us a lot about what it really means to be part of a synagogue community. As I just said, I used to think that synagogues ran on dues alone. But I've come to understand, in the past year especially, that in order for a synagogue to thrive, it requires actually three things of its members, not just one. It requires each of us to pay dues, yes, but it also requires us to invest our time and also to give meaningful financial gifts. And that's what I'm really here to ask of you today. So let's talk about it for a minute, a meaningful financial gift. What does that mean? It means that it's not just the size of the gift that matters, but also the intention with which it's given. We live in a distracted age with many demands on our time and on our energy and on our resources. I suspect that most of us go through the motions of synagogue membership on autopilot. Pay dues, schedule the JLC carpool, show up to Rosh Hashanah services, donate to the high holiday appeal, wash, rinse, repeat, because that's just what we've always done. But right now, I'm asking you to take a moment to pause and consider, what about that experience is meaningful for you today, not just because that's what you've always done? And how can that translate into a meaningful contribution to our synagogue this year? Let me tell you about what's meaningful for me. I sometimes joke that I'm Jewish by osmosis. My family wasn't super religious, but I was in Jewish spaces and with other Jewish people all the time. As you just heard, I went to Jewish preschool and summer camp and belonged to a synagogue. What you don't know is that I also went to an independent Hebrew school 3 times a week after school and on the weekend, from kindergarten through my senior year of high school, with kids from all of the conservative congregations in the area. It's just what everyone did where I grew up. And this was separate from the time I spent at my synagogue on the weekends, studying or tutoring or attending B'nai Mitzvot, or participating in confirmation or USY or junior congregation. And of course, I was also at synagogue for Jewish holidays and at my aunt's house on Shabbat. All of that's to say, I was exposed to Judaism constantly. I had weekly, if not daily, opportunities to soak in my Jewishness and cement my Jewish identity. Some of my fondest Jewish memories are completely non-religious moments I only consider Jewish because they took place within the walls of a synagogue. What's Jewish about the full-size Hershey bar they handed out at Simchat Torah every year? I don't know. But I remember it with such joy, and that joy has manifested itself as the love of Simchat Torah. And that love of Simchat Torah has resulted in me bringing my own kids to Simchat Torah services every year. That Hershey bar I was given at my synagogue has resulted in a meaningful Jewish experience for me and my family over 30 years later. That is what is meaningful to me. I want Adat Ariel to be the background of my kids' childhood memories, religious or otherwise. I want my kids and yours to have the same opportunity to be Jewish by osmosis. During the interview process, I heard Rabbi Schuldenfrei speak about his own experience with this growing up, and I imagine it resonates on some level for many of you as well. My kids don't attend Jewish day school, and as far as I can tell, ours is one of only 2 Jewish families at the public school we attend. For us, Adat Ariel is the apex of our Jewish life, and I'm counting on this to be the place that my boys soak up their Jewishness and grow into their own Jewish identities. In the last few years, there hasn't been a lot of synagogue programming for elementary-age kids here. So that's why in 2019, I helped to create the Campfire Havdalah program, which we were only able to host once pre-COVID, but it was really great. And I'm so excited for it and other programs like it to flourish as we start to reconvene on campus in the coming months. This is the type of program that is meaningful to me and to my family. Anything that gets us through the doors here and provides another easy Jewish touch point for my boys. So when Sam and Miles and Lewis and I make our gift this year, this is the type of program that we will have in mind. We'll give our monetary gift, and then we'll also give our time to help plan and promote these types of programs. And then we'll show up when they appear on the calendar, and we'll encourage our friends to join us too. We will give our gift this year so that my kids and yours, or your grandkids, or your great-grandkids, will have another year of opportunity to grow into their Judaism through osmosis like I did. And then one day, they will be the ones standing up here and carrying on our traditions for us, asking us to give meaningful financial gifts so that their children can continue to be Jewish within these walls. The funds raised from the High Holiday Appeal touch every part of our synagogue. They support our schools, our operations, our programs, our campus, everything. So take a moment to think about what makes Adat Ariel, or what makes Judaism, meaningful and joyful and impactful to you, and make your gift with that in mind. And then consider going one step further. If what feels meaningful to you is not easily accessible here, tell us about it so that we can help you find it or help you create it. Because Adat can only be what we make it, so we need to make it a priority. A priority in how we invest our time and a priority in how we invest our money. We need to continue choosing to make being Jewish in a Jewish space and with our Jewish friends a priority. It's not always going to be the easy choice. But we can make it easier by giving our resources to create the programs and events and spiritual offerings that we actually want to show up to. Programs that feel meaningful to us. And then every time we show up to one of those programs, every time we meet a new friend here or learn something new, We are strengthening our connection and deepening our roots, which then perpetuates the ease of making Judaism and Adat Ariel a priority in our hectic lives. With that in mind, I want to take a moment to thank those of you here tonight with very deep roots here who have been giving large and meaningful gifts to sustain Adat Ariel over the years. It's not lost on me that my family and I are here today because of your continued choice to make Adat Ariel a priority for your family. The walls of Adat may not be where I was raised, but the people, the friends from Mommy and me whose kids are still in JLC with mine, the new faces that I met on the Rabbinic Search Committee, the ones who mourned with me when my father died and who will break fast with me tomorrow night and who will celebrate Simchas with my family in the future, those are the people that make me feel at home here. Because of all of you, this is the Jewish home in which I choose to raise my kids. So I'm asking you this today. Please make Adat Ariel a priority for your family and mine in the coming year. Please give and show up with abundance and with meaning. Coming out of COVID and with our new senior rabbi leading the way, we have so many new beginnings to look forward to and so much opportunity ahead of us. Opportunity to reshape and reinvest in an Adat Ariel that is relevant and meaningful and feels like home for us all. Shana Tova.